Why does losing $100 feel worse than gaining $100 feels good? If both amounts are equal, the emotional reaction should be equal too. But it isn't. This imbalance is not random. It is a deeply rooted psychological mechanism called loss aversion, and it silently shapes most of your decisions. Loss aversion is the tendency to experience losses more intensely than gains of the same size. Research in behavioral economics shows that, on average, losses feel roughly twice as powerful as gains. If you gain $100, you feel good. If you lose $100, you feel significantly worse. The emotional system does not treat these outcomes equally. From a rational perspective, this makes little sense. But from an evolutionary perspective, it makes perfect sense. For early humans, losing resources could threaten survival. Food, shelter, status. Losing any of these carried real danger. So the brain evolved to prioritize avoiding losses over acquiring gains. This system worked well in a survival environment. It does not work well in probability-based environments. Loss aversion changes behavior in subtle but powerful ways. When you are in a losing situation, your brain shifts into protection mode. It wants to escape the pain of being wrong. This leads to common patterns. Holding on to losing decisions longer than rational analysis would justify. Avoiding necessary change because admitting loss feels like personal failure. Refusing to exit a bad position because the emotional cost of realizing the loss feels too high. In many cases, the decision is no longer about logic. It becomes about emotional relief. The brain tries to reduce discomfort, not maximize long-term outcome. Interestingly, loss aversion can also create the opposite behavior. When people are already in a losing state, they sometimes take irrational risks. Why? Because accepting a certain loss feels unbearable. So the brain prefers a risky gamble over a guaranteed loss, even if the gamble has worse probabilities. This is not courage. It is emotional avoidance. Loss aversion does not disappear when you understand it. The emotional reaction will still happen, but awareness introduces a delay. Instead of reacting immediately, you can pause. And in that pause, you can ask a different question. Am I trying to make the best decision? Or am I trying to avoid the feeling of loss? That distinction changes everything. Loss aversion is not a weakness. It is a built-in survival mechanism. But survival thinking and rational decision-making are not the same thing. If you want better outcomes, you must recognize when your brain is protecting you and when it is limiting you.